This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
And I'm Christina. And we've got opinions.
Oof. Oh, man. We have, well, first of all, I want to say that we went to Palm Springs last weekend, and that was super fun.
Yes.
And we had a great
lot
time.
To talk about.
There's tons to discuss, but I just wanted to say, if you haven't done a girls' trip with just your girlfriends, highly recommend.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. It was a good time.
So much fun.
But what we really need to discuss this week,
right.
we need to talk about, it's long overdue, to be honest, because I feel like
we've been holding back on this.
We've been holding back on talking about the John Mulaney situation.
Yeah. And it's been on our radar. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
We've been thinking on it.
But it was this week that he went on Seth Meyers and confirmed, because we'd seen the pictures, right? People were sharing the pictures. Olivia Munn looks pregnant, right? But nobody ever wants to be like, hey, you look pregnant, right? No one wants to make that mistake.
But she also hasn't been pregnant before, and she looks
pregnant.
Yeah.
To me, that is like at least 6 months.
Yes.
That is pregnant.
Yeah.
That's
unless she just popped like real fast.
You don't. Not when you're first one.
Yeah.
Listen, speaking from many experiences with many women I know, and having been a mother myself, the second one, you pop like cray. Like you like, boom, immediately I'm pregnant. But usually the first one, you don't start showing until, and especially somebody her size, like she's small, right? Which apparently is her thing because she just loves to fat shame people.
Yeah. Now I'm going to say the biggest thing for me that hits me is his ex-wife, Anna, who, you know, as somebody that went through that experience of going through like a separation, I think something that is kind of painful about it is like, even though I wanted it to end, it's like I still had to take time to like grieve the relationship. And then when your partner is, or your ex-partner partners up immediately with somebody else into a very serious situation, it can be very painful.
Right. Like the timeline,
right.
Okay, so I watched the interview on Seth Meyers and he's discussing his year.
Word.
And first of all, it was awkward because there's still no one in the audience. So any jokes that he tried to make, first of all, they're talking about a very serious topic, but of course they're comedians. So they're trying to intersperse it with some like lighthearted comedy and stuff. They don't land because there's not anybody in the audience. So it's really uncomfortable. But then also he split up from his wife like a year ago.
Right.
Like last September is whenever he moved out.
Yeah.
So it's like a year. He's been in rehab like 2 times.
Yeah.
He like
there's a lot to
he's
unpack
with
here.
a new person and she's pregnant.
When he confirms that pregnancy, can we talk about the look on his face?
Oh, he looked like he was going to explode into flames.
He was okay. So John Mulaney has been joking it's been part of his act for years that he doesn't want to have children.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's always been his thing, right? Is that he and his wife have made the decision they don't want to have children. Great. I do not think that someone who has made a decision with their partner to not have children just suddenly is like, but I okay. To be fair, I do think that sometimes you can be with the wrong
People
person.
change.
From his reaction, the way that he's talking about it, he is like, so we're having a baby.
Well, I also think
like,
he's acutely aware of the fact that he's being judged. But, I think that he knows that, like, this is not, it's not in line with your image, right? It's not on brand for John Mulaney to be this, like, kind of guy that now we're all like, are you a scumbag? And so I think maybe he's not used to being in that position where, like, he knows that people are going to judge him. If he comes out and says, hi, I split up with my wife a year ago, got with this woman that people do not like, and now she's pregnant, and I said I didn't want to have kids with my ex-wife, and she's really sad, and I don't know.
Olivia Munn is somebody that I ran into in my formative years when she used to host that show.
G4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The gaming show.
Where, it was just like, I feel like she perpetuated in me that feeling of having to be the cool girl.
Yes.
Well, she was peak, not like the other girls.
That's right.
Yeah, peak, pick me, not like the other girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was just like, I've always kind of had this like anger towards her anyway, where I'm just like, oh, you make me pretend to like Tony Hawk and shit.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, not really her fault. It's my fault, but still.
The thing with Olivia Munn is like, like you, Cassie, we discussed this before we started recording. I didn't want to I don't like hopping on the hate train.
Right.
Like, because sometimes people just hate celebrities and I'm like, for why?
Man,
you know,
right?
like Anne Hathaway's like that. People are like, I don't know. She just pisses me off. And I'm like, oh,
why?
well, but why? You know,
What'd she do?
But Olivia Munn, the more I learn about her, the less I like her.
It's becoming increasingly more difficult to like have her back because she's apparently awful. Like,
well,
apparently,
her memoir was just like blatantly like, hey, really fat phobic, and really like some things in there were like homophobic and very
awful.
like woman hatey too.
Yeah.
Like, and it just rubs people wrong.
You get back what you give out, you know, and she really like, that's the biggest part of what I've, read from her memoir is just like how anti-woman she is. So I'm like,
that sucks.
All right, well, fine.
Here's the thing though, big picture. No one in this scenario is winning. Not one single person is coming out of this a winner because let's be honest, anybody that's ever gotten into a relationship after a really big traumatic heartbreak typically doesn't fare well for longevity.
Yeah,
There's that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's just like you're literally out of rehab. Christina, you and I were just recently talking about this before we started recording about like when you get out of rehab, when you go through something like this, they typically do not recommend that you get into anything serious
for a year.
Yeah,
at least.
Right. And to go to rehab twice, go through a divorce, and then immediately start a new relationship, and you're about to deal with a newborn. So you're going through like pregnancy, baby sobriety, right? Like you're just barely sober.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
Ooh,
honestly.
for everyone involved, like a baby
honestly.
is such a stressor on a relationship anyway.
Dude, my puppy has been a stressor on our relationship. Where I'm just like,
right?
Motherfucker is like cock blocked us for like a month now. Like,
Oh, god damn. You're like, no.
yeah,
this
so I
ain't-
can't even imagine a baby. Like, I feel like you have to have such a strong foundation. But I mean, well, what do I know? I haven't been, a parent, but from my own like thoughts, I would think that you would want something a little bit more of foundational.
Right. I mean, and for all the Dr. TJ fossils out there, this is all pure speculation. Who knows? Because everybody is different, and like maybe they're soulmates, and maybe this will like work out amazingly for everybody. Like we don't know. We don't know them. Like, but
What was that thing you sent us where like Olivia Munn is Megan Fox's Wario?
that was Cassie.
I saw that was on Twitter, and I was like, "Holy shit!" If that's not the truthiest
Because
truth,
you know what's
it's
funny
so true.
is Megan Fox was
She's like
one
the
of those.
girliest girl. Like you can see that she probably has a bunch of girlfriends.
Megan Fox, yeah, like this is funny because she was one who like I wanted to hate. This was the opposite. Like this, she was one who I like wanted to hate when she was coming up because I'm like, oh, she's like so beautiful and so confident. Like I was just like pissed about it. And then the longer I like, the more I interact with her content, the more I'm like, oh, I actually think I might like you.
Yeah, she actually seems.
I'm glad that we're bringing this up because she basically bounced on her partner.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And her kids.
Well,
yeah.
but they'd been Brian
off
Austin Green.
and on
They'd been
again.
on and off for a long time. There had been years ago that there was like they were going to have a divorce. Then they got back together and things started to smooth out. But then again, they've been not together for a long time. So she didn't like bounce on him. Like they had not been together for a while before she started dating.
Yeah, it's not the same as like leaving and then immediately getting someone else pregnant.
Yeah.
You know. But
it feels
yeah,
freshy.
I mean, because what is that? Because I want to defend Megan Fox where I'm like, bitch, get your life. You know what I mean? I'm like, go live your life. I get it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. We don't know these people. So we don't really get to have an opinion. It shouldn't affect any of us as much as it is.
We are so invested.
We're so hot about this.
Really, really ridiculous.
I think it's because John Mulaney's comedy made us all feel like we knew him. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it was so relatable to the point where we were like, oh, we know you. We know who you are. And it's like, no, we don't. We don't know you.
Well, and I mean, also, like, we've all been through, like, breakups and stuff like that, regardless of if you're the Olivia Munn, the John Mulaney, or Anna in this situation.
Sure.
We've all been at least one, if not all three of them at different points in our life.
True.
So it's easy for us to be like, oh, I remember what that feels
Felt
like.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to say, though, my favorite thing that's happening right now about this on Twitter is the manifestation, or as some people are calling it, the manifestation of a relationship in which, because like last December, she was like sending so much love and support to John Mulaney. You got this heart with the like lightning bolt.
She weaseled her way right in.
Listen, everybody is like sending.
Uh-huh.
Listen, everybody's like sending so much love and support to $1 million in my bank account.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like I just want to start atting celebrities, sending so much love to Jason Momoa. And,
lightning bolt emoji,
heart emoji.
It's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm happily.
Yeah, he's like,
okay.
Thank you.
Tom, ew, not Brady. Gross.
Oh,
Ew, Tom Hardy. Thank you. Yes, Tom Hardy sending so much love and support.
XOXO.
Heart lightning bolt
at Matthew Good.
But also, like, for Anna, like, whenever John Mulaney met Olivia Munn, like, they were together at a wedding together. They were at Seth Meyers' wedding.
Right.
Woof.
So, like, imagine for her.
It was like 2015 or something, right?
You were there. Like, I don't know. That would be so rough. It's like you were there whenever your husband met the woman that he leaves you for and is now pregnant.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
Slayers.
Yeah. So
What's up with that?
Go like her art. I just think right
her art
now
is beautiful
her
too.
art and what she's doing with the photography, just like how raw and real it is. Go support Anna. As somebody that's been the Anna.
Whoa,
I also
man.
hope she moves past this and she can. I hope that her art continues to like speak for itself and she's not just John Mulaney's ex who like went through this thing. You know, like I hope.
Absolutely.
Well, on other things about canceled culture, because I think that Olivia Munn is kind of deservedly coming into hers, especially considering all the things that we've heard now about her fucking book and all this shit. Like, honestly, like I just didn't know that about her. You know, I'd heard all the rumors who were like, oh, she's the housewife.
Right, but I thought that was just standard. Yeah.
Standard Hollywood goss, right? But I found this article on, the best place to find articles, BuzzFeed.
Uh-huh.
If it's not Ranker, BuzzFeed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great place to go. But they were talking about celebrities that have been canceled that probably shouldn't have been canceled or probably need their second chance. Like
right.
their come up
in hindsight.
Right? Like,
yeah.
A lot of times it's like women who like started to think for themselves, or it's like mental health issues.
Oh.
People
Amanda
get canceled.
Bynes.
Oh my God.
That whole thing.
The way that we looked at mental health even like 10 years ago, we were so just like, oh, isn't this hilarious? Like, or like, oh my God, she's nuts or whatever, and now we look back with a little bit more perspective and we're like, wow.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Mistakes were definitely made.
It kind of also, one of the other people in here I want to talk about, first of all, always Corey Feldman, because I super love Corey Feldman. And I feel like he got like a real shit raw end of the deal.
Agree.
Because I mean, he was the one coming out originally saying, hi, we're kids in this industry and we've all been molested and we're all being treated horribly and we're all being fucked over and
dude, you could not
sexually
pay me enough to be
awful.
a child star in the 80s.
Oh God.
Like the things
In
that
the
were
90s.
just permissible at that time, where it was
Awful.
just like, hey, here's a 12-year-old Drew Barrymore, we'll let her into this club. Like,
Sounds
what,
right.
what?
Yeah. How much cocaine would you like, Drew? 12-year-old Drew.
Yeah.
Seems like. Speaking of, I actually just downloaded her biography on Audible, and I'm like, I can't wait to start listening to that because I'm like, that sounds great. She's got stories to tell.
Fellow
for sure.
Pisces, I love her.
Oh, the other one that there's so many in here that are great, like the Brendan Fraser. Like, why was he blackballed? Like, he was
because
the
he spoke out about
against-
somebody sexually abusing him.
That's right.
I love Brendan Fraser.
I know.
too.
He's a
We
great-
need a renaissance for Brendan Fraser.
But yeah, he got canceled because of that. It's the same thing they tried to cancel Terry Crews on
Yes.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine when he spoke out about
So
being,
glad that didn't go.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, nope, no,
Not today.
not today,
Not on our watch.
No, have you seen those commercials? He's too funny. We keep him. We keep the funny ones. The Shelley Duvall.
Oh yeah, that one's a bummer.
Yeah.
That
And
story
then
is
for
a bummer.
fucking Phil, Dr. Phil to fucking that whole thing that he did. That was
He's trash.
Didn't he do the same thing with Britney Spears? Like trying to get her, like when she was having her mental health problems, he was like sharking
trigger.
around
Probably.
her family and stuff like that, trying to get, dude, he's like just a glorified ambulance chaser. You know what I mean?
truth.
Listen,
Truth.
we all know, and don't come for me. Don't be in my mentions. We all know how much I love Oprah.
Yeah.
But she has brought us some real trash. Like
Yeah.
Dr.
Dr.
Phil,
Oz.
Dr. Oz.
Okay,
Like these
right.
Oprah, I'm sorry, girl. This
Honey.
is your fault. This is your fault that we have these trash men on our
Wow.
TV.
And she's like, if you can't have me, you will have trash.
You have nothing. Take these white men.
She's like, you're gonna really love this true story. What was the one where the guy lied? Nathan Fry or whatever it is. Oh, the million
God.
little pieces or something.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
She's like, here's a great memoir, and it was like, no.
lies.
Lies. The two more that I have to bring up real quick. One is Ashley Judd, who was blacklisted by fucking Weinstein of all
course.
people. Why has she not had a fucking renaissance? And truth be told, we have to talk about Winona Ryder because I do.
Who?
Winona Ryder.
Oh, Winona?
Because, and I think that it's easy for people to be like, well, she did this. What did she do? She fucking stole some shit.
Like every girl steals.
Yeah.
and they're, I mean,
we all went.
she
Let's okay.
shoplifted. The shit that we forgive on men. Can we talk about how there is still a show called Bull about Dr. Phil and the guy who fucking the main character has been harassing sexually one of the coworker or his co-stars.
Yeah.
She gets kicked off the fucking show, and that show is still on.
Oh, yeah.
But
Or
we have Winona Ryder who fucking shoplifted.
You have like a Hugh Grant who, like, that whole situation, all he does is go on late night and he's like, oh, whoopsie.
I'm charming.
And everybody's like, oh, cool.
I have
That's
a British
fine.
accent. I'm charming, and I stuck my dick into a sex worker, and it's fine.
And again, fine.
Totally fine.
I
Don't
think
actually care.
I think he should have been forgiven or whatever.
Sure.
I think he should not have been canceled. But it is true. It's like if the same happened for a woman, there's no way.
no getting out of it.
No.
Yeah.
No getting out
Especially
of it.
I think it was also at the time. Again, we were like peak judgy in like the early 2000s.
Oh.
It was like you could not be a celebrity and like do anything
wrong at
without
all.
like massive. It was like peak paparazzi time period where we were just like so hyper focused on every little move that everybody made. I mean, and along those lines, I know that another person who was on that list is Amanda Bynes. Where it was just like she clearly like she was going through something, and instead of us saying like, "Hey, this
sucks.
person who was very formative to my childhood, like maybe we should take a closer look at like what's going on with you." Instead, we were just like, "Oh no, she's nuts."
Oh my God. Speaking of, like, I was too old for Blue's Clues, but I did watch that this week and I still cried.
Wait, what?
Oh my God, Cassie, where have you been?
Did you hear Steve from Blue's
I'm gonna cry
Clues?
right now. I'm
Wait,
gonna cry
what?
right now.
Steve from Blue's Clues back in 2002, like went on an episode of Blue's Clues and was like, okay, I have to go, but here's my brother.
Yeah. He went to college.
Peaced out.
Right.
So he comes back this week with like a video and he's
in his Blue's Clues hat and shirt.
And he's like, I realize that it might have been a little too abrupt, the way that I left you, but I just want you to know how proud I am of you. And I never forgot you. And I was like, I'm tearing up right now, and I didn't watch those.
He's like, do you remember when we used to run around and find clues with Blue? And now you have homes and families and student loans. And we're all like,
we do.
And I loved the tweet that went viral after that. That was like, the last year and a half has been so hard that Steve from Blue's Clues was like, I have to address the nation.
He's like, you need me.
Really? It's like, oh, the millennials need me. And
all of
Gen
this
Z.
like nostalgic stuff has been like such a salve. Like, getting to see LeVar Burton again, like hosting Jeopardy, and just like the Bob Ross documentary and like all these things. I'm like,
a Bob Ross documentary to get you furious.
We need our like, I don't know, our
there are blankies, honestly.
Blankies
it's
right
our
now.
Security blanket. And it's, look, no shame in it. It's like, we got to find comfort wherever we can.
We're rewatching that Mr. Rogers.
I know, exactly.
I need you.
Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill this week? Should we go with canceled celebrities or because like Brent, uncanceled.
Yeah, like canceled celebrities who don't deserve to be
unjustly
canceled.
That's
the word.
Celebrities.
Unjustly canceled celebrities. And you know what? Because they were unjustly, I say we fuck, marry, friend.
I agree.
Oh,
yes, I agree.
That. Okay.
Okay.
I have to go Corey Feldman. Sorry.
I figured you would. I
mean, like, honestly, I've just been such a hard stand for him. I had the biggest crush on him when I was a kid, and I've never not been. I know that he does like wild things. Like, he's been kind of a wild character, but I do feel like he was so unjustly...
And what he had to go through in his childhood and what he's seen. I'm like...
And continues to go thugh.
Yeah.
Like,
I just want to see him and hug him. Just, that's all.
I'm going to go with Winona Ryder. I loved her so much. Yeah. Like, I still love her. And I think she's so beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with Ashley Judd. Specifically because at one point I did want her to not be in any movies anymore because one of my first boyfriends over our bed
that's right.
Yes, Ashley Judd.
You canceled Ashley Judd. You were like, you pulled that poster right down.
Is this your fault? I know.
No. You were spreading rumors about her.
But, being older now, I'm like, it sucks. I love her movies. I think she's gorgeous. So I'm putting Ashley Judd in there.
Ashley Judd now has that feminist rage that I relate to so much. Where I'm just like, I love it. I love that.
It's not quite as aggressive as a Rose McGowan rage.
No, but it's like a step below.
Right, it's just a step below.
Yeah, classy. It's like simmering,
and I don't want to
red wine.
Right, I don't want to detract from the vodka shot that Rose McGowan is.
The fireball shot. Yeah.
Because I do think that there is some necessity behind that. Right. And I don't want to yuck that yum because I think she needs to do what she needs to do to get her voice, whatever she feels to do, and to get empowered behind it.
Amen. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I don't want that to kind of... I know, because I know that's not what you're saying.
Exactly.
You're not like anti-Rose McGowan here.
No, not at all.
No,
but yeah, that simmering, like that red wine, just like I can see it at like this beautiful marble kitchen island, just sitting with.
Oh, you're gonna have such good conversations.
I'm gonna fuck Ashley Judd because I think we're gonna have that night, right? Where it's just like we're sitting by an open fire.
I hate this.
We've got red wine and we are fucking pissed, right? And you have that like just bitching.
Can you imagine
about
the girls' night?
Oh, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a lot of like real righteous feminist rage that leads to like great sex.
I've got to marry her. I have to say, I feel like too, like she has like really nice white blouses. You know? Like she can
she
keep
wears
a
them
white
outside
blouse
and they're
white.
clean.
Yes.
Yeah. She wears them like
everywhere.
she goes
I
hiking
respect that
in
energy.
Mexico with a white blouse on, and like it comes back pristine, and you're like, how?
Not even a sweat
How?
mark.
I know. I just feel like I can learn so much, and she's just so classy. I'm just like in awe of her. So yeah, I have to marry Ashley Judd. Deciding who to fuck though between
I know
Winona and Corey. I don't know.
I'm gonna fuck Winona.
I think so. Yeah,
because I want to friend Corey. I think he's more friend material
I just
for me.
want to give him a hug.
I think of him like younger me would have been like, I'm gonna fuck Corey because he's so hot, and I still think that there's still that energy there for me regardless. That young teenage version of him with the dark glasses.
Oh yeah,
my God.
yeah. Lost Boys.
Stop.
Corey Feldman. Stop.
Yeah. But I just think now, like, I just really want to be his friend because I think that that's the thing that he needs.
He needs to go to dinner with the three of us, and he will leave with such high self-esteem.
As long as he doesn't call us an angel or whatever he's, I know he's into some weird things. And I appreciate him as a person. I cannot be one of your angels.
He could be friends. We can be friends.
Oh yeah.
But
we're
I'm
gonna go to dinner in West
Winona.
Hollywood. Yeah,
because
I feel like there's some real like red room.
Yeah.
Kind of activities.
Yeah,
or dark kind of.
It's one of
intense
two ways
eyes.
with her. She is either going to be a pillow princess or intense AF.
Oh no, I think she's intense. I think she's intense. And here's the thing: I know that marrying Ashley was the right choice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the right choice.
Yeah.
But first of all, I feel like
You're like, hear me out.
maybe Ashley's feminist rage and my feminist rage would be too much. We'd explode. It'd be a lot for a marriage.
Okay. All right.
So I feel like that. Also, there is something wild-eyed about Winona that is intriguing to me.
Bitch, you love a project. That's what. That's what's going on. Because Keegan cannot turn down a job. She's like,
I love a
more
mystery.
Work? I love it.
I love a
Sign me up.
mystery.
She's like, what else can I do? What other project can I take on?
There's something about you that I just need to get to the core of, and I may not like it once I get there.
You
We'll
likely
see.
won't. It's going to burn fast and hard.
But I think it'll be fun up until that point, and maybe I can fix her.
You're like a goddamn
God.
Coldplay song over here.
Right? Oh my goodness.
And we're gonna do weird shit. Like that's the thing with
Yeah.
Winona. I'm like, our marriage is gonna be full of some weird shit.
Your place has crystals at
Yes.
it. I just know it.
For
it fucking
salt
does.
lamps, just left, right, and
Geodes.
center. Yeah.
Y'all live like in like a little shacky place by Venice.
We're just like, maybe it's also because I just watched Practical Magic, and I'm like, that might be in our future. It's just like
Yeah,
we're
you're
burning
like,
incense. We're growing our hair
Stockard
really
Channing,
long.
Diane Wiest
Yeah.
vibes.
Wait, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Lovely.
I'm
Yeah.
actually about to change my mind.
Yeah, we're making tinctures, okay? We're like doing weird shit. And
Yeah.
I think it's either going to be a blast or, it's a tainted love. It's one or the other.
Okay.
It's true.
All right.
Yeah. Two things. One, we have to talk about our fuck, marry, kill that we talked about on your bachelorette party,
Oh.
which was hilarious.
I completely forget.
We
we
were
got
wine drunk,
drunk.
and we
Yeah.
fuck, married, killed
Each other.
Each
Each other. Oh my god.
But with the caveat of that we had to kill ourselves because we can't
Right.
kill each other, right? So it was either like
Christina's
fuck or marry.
face of just like, oh God, that's right, we did do that.
Yeah, at a table full of people. Yeah,
A table full
was
of
good.
other women who were not prepared for
but it
my
was
worst
requested.
date.
I will say. So shout out to Erica, who I know listens to this
Yeah.
podcast because she requested that.
Yeah.
So it's not our fault.
Oh my
okay.
God.
Yes. So I immediately, both Christina and I were like, well, we're going to fuck Cassie.
Which I'm like, of all the things, of you guys that have not listened to me for the past how many years of me saying I am like all about me in bed and don't give a fuck about nobody
It's
else.
a very familiar feeling.
You're all like, challenge accepted.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay.
Yes,
I
100%.
told you how quick I get off, but if you want.
Oh man, good times. And then I married Christina, and then you also married Christina Cassie, I think.
Yeah, I did. I married
Yeah.
Christina. Everybody married Christina. Everybody fucks me. And then
I got the best of both worlds.
yeah, you got one each.
Yeah, I got one each.
You got one each.
So
Oh,
amazing.
man.
And
We're
do
awful.
Whatever. We do also have a new patron this week. So a big shout out to Jennifer Valencia. Welcome to our Patreon crew. You're just in time to hear our takes on Practical Magic, which is our next Tainted Love movie, which I think will be up by the time this episode comes out. So welcome, enjoy. We will get your gifts out to you as soon as possible.
Welcome, Worsty.
Yeah. All right, let's take 5 and we'll come back with stories.
Cool.
And
we're back.
Oh. Got me good.
Oh, you hate me so much. Go for it. Sorry.
Okay, I'm going to kick us off with
She's
stories
like,
this week.
You're
Like, we're going to talk about this when we're done recording. Don't worry about it.
I know. I'm so nervous. Gotta go.
Okay, so this is from Reddit. I finally created an account for this post. Which is though, you know, you're like, great.
You know it's going to be good.
Yeah, yeah.
I agreed to go on a blind date with a coworker's son. He recently moved back in with her, and she wanted me to take him out of the house for the night.
Okay.
He had no car and no job, but it was just a favor, so it wasn't a big deal. We're supposed to get something to eat and then go to a movie. I pick him up and we go through the normal introductions on the way to the restaurant. The conversation during dinner consists of him rotating between bad-mouthing his mother and asking inappropriate questions about my sexual preferences.
Well, I hate this so much.
No. Bad-mouthing the woman that's like putting you up. And
setting you up on dates. And
I wish a motherfucker would.
and kick you out so fast. When the bill arrives, he informs me that his mother gave him money to pay, but he's not going to. He'd rather buy alcohol later.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
And your mommy gave you money to pay for your date. Like, are you 14?
Oh my God.
Stop.
I do love my son, and he is going through a trying times TM with trying to find a job.
Sure.
But I'm not giving him fucking money to go on a date. I'm sorry.
Well,
you're not in
and-
a dating place right now, sir.
And Dylan would never be like bad mouthing you and shit on a
Oh,
date.
hell no. He surely wouldn't. He really wouldn't.
He really wouldn't.
So she says, no problem. I just want to get out of there. I'm hoping I can silently get through the movie and go home. Nope. During the previews, he asks, do you want to see it now? What? I look over and his penis is out.
Oh, no.
I want to see nothing but the previews now, sir. You don't know
Excuse me
anything
while
about me.
I go immediately to the HR department, too. I be talking to that mom and be like, listen,
This is when he informs me that it would be a disservice to myself to turn him down.
Okay.
Wait, this is going to make you mad. As nobody wants to date a single mother.
wow.
My God.
What in the incel?
Flames.
Okay.
Out the side of my face. I am on fire right now.
I walked out with him shouting that I can't just leave him there he'll tell his mother on me.
Oh, okay. All right, buddy.
His mother never asked what happened, and I only told her to never ask me for a favor again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like it speaks volumes that the mom didn't even ask.
She's like,
she was like, I'm not even going to bring this up. I know that my son is trash. I just needed him out of my house for a night.
If you know this about your son, the last thing you want to do is hook them up with a coworker.
Someone from your work?
Yeah.
No.
Do you hate this person?
Maybe.
Maybe. There we go. Digging deeper. There we go.
Yeah, she's like, this is a punishment, actually.
She's like,
You be microwaving fish, so you're going out with my son.
Fish and broccoli all day, every day, in the break
this
room.
bitch deserves a date with my son.
Embarrassing.
Oh, woof. All right, so I got this from our the place where emails come.
Yeah, our inbox.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
It's a tough morning. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, okay. So when I was 19, I worked at a Halloween store and met many different people I can't imagine. As you do in retail / customer service. One day I helped this really attractive man and his 7-year-old son find costumes. I was swooning over this guy. I thought he was one of the hottest guys I had ever met. Once I was done helping him, he seemed really nervous and said, I've never done this before, but can I have your number? Of course, I said yes.
I
Feeling
love
myself.
those. I'm feeling myself.
Yeah. We texted for a few days, and then he asked me to go to his friend's house party with him. I said yes and asked for the address and if my 2 roommates could come with me. He refused to give me an address and said he wanted to pick me up and got angry that I wanted my friends to come because,
red flag.
quote, I want to get to know you, not your
Then
friends.
don't have a first date at a house party.
Yeah,
Sir.
of all of your
What are you
friends.
doing?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no. Date canceled. I'm sorry.
Right. I don't know what the big deal was if he was taking me to a party where his friends would be.
Exactly.
But he was adamant that I went alone. I didn't feel good about this reaction, so I didn't go, and I didn't give him my address to pick me up. Yes, ma'am. A few days later, he texted me asking me what I was doing. I told him I was working, a lie. And he said, no, you aren't. I'm at the Halloween store and you aren't here. My stomach dropped and I felt sick. I told him that I was working a side job with my dad, something I did from time to time to earn extra money. And that
Not that I owe you any fucking explanation.
I know.
And that it was creepy that he just showed up at my workplace. This was 13 years ago, so I don't remember his name or what I said to stop him from texting me, but luckily I never heard from him again after that day. I was fresh out of a heartbreak and felt unwanted, so I was completely vulnerable and thought this was a great opportunity with a hot guy who wanted to get to know me, and he had a son, so he couldn't be that bad, right?
That's not how that works.
Nope. But I'm also so glad I listened to my gut and not my insecurities.
Amen.
Yes.
Oh, that's a happy ending.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you, ladies, for building such a genuine, supportive community where we can all just laugh and cry and cringe together.
Oh.
Also, too, she has a PS, which I love, and I've already sent you guys because I think it's a great idea. Please do a Patreon video or episode on Love is Blind after the altar. Also, Corona seltzers.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude!
yeah.
I did watch the After the Altar. I
Woof.
had so many opinions.
I have 1,000 thoughts.
First of all, fuck Damien.
Oh, well,
Everywhere.
yeah. Mm-hmm, we knew
I mean,
that.
or
Or don't fuck
yeah,
him.
don't.
Would be better.
Please don't.
No one fuck him because he is on dating sites now.
He's on Bumble.
Yeah.
Pussy embargo on that bitch.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so this one I found from Reddit. I almost saved this for next month around Halloween, but we're going to tell it now. She says, I swear to God this happened, and I love/hate telling this story.
I love whenever there's a disclaimer at the top.
They're like, this is not a creepypasta. I promise you.
We're back at his place for the first time. He has a TV in his room. He puts on Ghostbusters. We watch, and eventually, yada, yada, bang it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you do.
Next time, I'm at his place. We go straight to making out.
Fuck Ghostbusters.
He puts on Ghostbusters again.
It's the only movie he owns on like VHS.
The only movie he gets down to.
What if that's it? Oh no.
I unlatch from his face and ask why he started a movie. He says he doesn't know when his roommate will come back and doesn't want her to hear anything. I shrug and we go back to it, but he puts the volume up really loud.
Feels presumptuous as well. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen right now?
I ask him to turn it down or switch to music or something since it's kind of annoying and distracting.
Dan Aykroyd in the background.
He pouts but puts on a playlist. A few songs in, I start to realize it's remixes of Ghostbusters.
No, it's not. No.
I laugh and joke that Ghostbusters is haunting us. I mean, I didn't recognize the first few songs, and he was a movie nerd, so I thought it was like a medley of other movies, and then Who You Gonna Call just snuck in there. He laughs and goes back to it, but I ask him to skip the song. He pouts harder and flails a hand upward to change the song. It's another Ghostbusters song.
No, I'm sorry. At this point, we're stopping. I'm turning it off, and we are having a conversation.
I really can't think.
We have to have a conversation.
Have anything less sexy?
Absolutely. I did not want to fuck to the Ghostbusters. Not even a little. Oh my God. I say, let's just switch the playlist. This one's a bust. He says he doesn't want to bother and starts the TV again and tries to distract me by making out on my neck. The TV is now blasting the movie Ghostbusters exactly where we left off. I sit up, turn off the TV, and pull up a random Beats playlist, and we get back to it. As he starts taking off my pants and kissing me, his hand flails above my head. He seems to be trying to distract me, take off my pants, and change the music all at once.
What?
This is too much for his coordination, so it doesn't escape my notice. And the Ghostbusters playlist comes back on.
Something happened to him during his formative years. Whenever he was entering sexual maturity. That commingled Ghostbusters with sex.
He's like Sigourney Weaver, am I right?
You know what? That I would understand. Like if you just want to, if it's just like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters on a loop on YouTube, but I'm like, I could get down to that.
What if that's what you needed in order to come? Like, who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. He's like,
No. Oh my gosh.
He's like,
that's his cum sound. Oh.
He's like, what is the green character's name? He's like, Slimer.
Oh, I'm gonna slime you. No.
Shut up. Shut up.
It. Don't let him slime me.
He's like, can you fit this Stay Puft marshmallow?
Oh
my God. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out now.
So good. No.
At this point, I'm weirded out and angry. I sit up, grab my bra and shirt, and start arguing with him about it.
Yes.
I leave. I walk out and see his roommate. She is an older black lady, a good 30 years older than both of us, and she just looks me dead in the eye as a remix of Ghostbusters blares out and just gives the biggest sigh.
She's like, I know this play.
I know what this means.
The cheap apartment walls are rattling to the sound of the theme song and the bangs of him stumbling into walls trying to pull up his pants. I lock eyes with her and we have a moment of wordless communication.
Yes, honey.
I ghost. He's not who I'm going to call.
No.
Oh, because he's a buster. Am I right?
Yes.
Hey, but
I love the fact that her and the roommate had a moment.
The roommate's an older black woman because I'm like, I know that sigh.
Yeah.
I can hear that sigh.
I see
in
that eye.
story. I see it.
I see those eyes.
The exhaustion on her
Like,
face. Get out now.
Yeah.
And
Run,
it's so
bitch.
funny because he's like, I don't want my roommate to hear us. And it's like, your roommate knows when the Ghostbuster theme song comes on. What's happening in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
she's all like, oh, God damn it.
Not again.
Motherfucker. This motherfucker right here.
Oh my God. See, because like I'm like her. Like if you're like flirting around like Netflix and chilling, and it's like a random movie on, like whatever. For the
you
first
tried to
time.
get down to Zodiac. I understand.
I know,
But if it was Zodiac every time?
Every time a man would, I'd be like, you need to leave. You need to run.
Sir,
if someone put on Zodiac every time.
yes, I can't think of a single like movie where it would be like
No.
This is horny.
yeah.
Because even the horny movies, like every time.
Every time,
Like you're going to 9.5 weeks every time.
Like, we can only watch 50 Shades of Grey every time?
Shrek. Really?
What if it was Shrek? We're like, she said 9.5 weeks. I said 50 Shades. You immediately said Shrek. What is happening?
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Yeah, there you go.
goddamn.
Wow. All right. We're going to do a hard pivot here.
Oh,
Sorry.
great. Oh, perfect.
Sorry, you guys. Okay. So this is actually, I was putting my hair in braids, which takes forever. And every time I do that, I'm like, I got to find something to like listen to. And I'd burned through like all the podcasts that I usually listen to. I'm in between Audible books right now. So I started listening to the I Survived podcast, which if you've ever seen I Survived, the TV show, it is one, even as like a true crime person, I Survived is like one of the most terrifying things.
Yeah.
Because there's something about like watching people describe what they went through that it's like, it's so, it's terrifying. So Welcome.
Great.
Here we go.
Awesome.
Good.
So this came from an I Survived story. I want to go ahead and trigger warning right off the top that there is extreme domestic violence in this episode or in this story. So if that's something that is a trigger for you, just proceed with caution, or maybe you want to just skip till the end. Okay. So Teri Jendusa met David Larson in college, and they ran in the same friend group and they lived in the same dorm, but they didn't start dating until like 10 years after meeting. So, they kind of knew each other, but she really kind of makes it sound like they had gotten to the point where they were in like their late 20s, early 30s, and basically they were just ready to settle down. And they were both at a place where like, I want to get married and have kids. You want to get married and have kids. We don't hate each other. It's really the vibe, right? You know what I mean?
That is.
We know a couple people in relationships like that.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. So they quickly got engaged. Although this obviously like wasn't the stuff of like rom-coms or fairy tales, she seemed to be happy with her decision to marry David. She did notice that there were signs that he had a temper, like yelling at waitstaff.
No.
Oh, nope.
Or road rage on
No.
which
hate it.
I've definitely yelled alone in my car.
Sure.
At other cars. But, I think that yelling at the girl behind the counter at the gas station is a pretty big red flag, right?
Yeah.
But she said that at the time, he had never turned his temper onto her, and she never thought that he would. She's just like, okay, like, maybe he's got a short fuse or whatever. It wasn't until the couple started planning their wedding that she saw another side of him. He became obsessive and controlling about the most minute details of the wedding. He didn't let her have control of the colors or the flowers or the decor.
Okay, I have to pause here. You're getting married. Mm-hmm. You're planning a wedding.
Yeah.
What if Anthony was doing that?
Oh, no.
First of all, I can't even imagine Anthony being like that interested enough.
No.
I think most guys, you're like, will you please help out?
Yeah. I mean,
so for a guy to be like, this is my everything and I have all the plans already laid out, you're like,
right.
yikes.
I mean, I think that grooms oftentimes they do have more opinions than society leads us to believe they're going to have about their wedding. Like Anthony definitely has opinions that are counter to mine about like certain things.
Sure.
And that's when you like come to a compromise on it. But first of all, I picked our wedding colors and all of that stuff, and he didn't. I ran it by him, and he was like, cool.
Yeah.
But if he was absolutely controlling every single aspect of the wedding.
No, we're doing black and gold. It's going to be an LAFC wedding.
Right. I don't want to hear anything about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and this was so bad. Like, it wasn't just that he had strong opinions, which I think is fine. It was his behavior was so bad that her parents actually refused to come to the rehearsal dinner, and both of her parents tried to convince her not to marry him on the day of the wedding.
Oh,
yeah. So her mom is telling her like, you don't have to do this, and she kind of makes a joke that like her dad at the last minute was like, hey,
not too late to back out.
We can leave right now, right?
Yeah.
And she says, and I think that this is a familiar feeling. Like she says that, well, everybody was here. Right? Like, it's like you have the wedding. We're in the church. Everyone is here. I can't just leave. Yeah. And so she says that she remembers thinking like, how bad could it be?
Oh,
like how bad could it be?
Never ask that.
Right after their wedding, they went to Hawaii on their honeymoon, and Teri recalls that they were getting ready to go for a walk somewhere, and so she put on what you put on. She put on a tank top and a pair of shorts and tennis shoes, and she had her swimsuit on underneath. And David remarked that she should just wear her swimsuit, which of course is ridiculous. You know, if you're going somewhere. Like, you're not just going to walk around in a swimsuit and tennis shoes, right?
Yeah.
But he wouldn't let it go. He insisted that she wear her swimsuit, and when she refused, he hit her for the first time in the head.
No.
So she wanted to go home right then, but David had their tickets, their IDs, and all of their money. So she was trapped on her honeymoon. She was just trapped in Hawaii. So she told herself that when they got back to Wisconsin that she would leave him, but they got back, he seemed back to normal, and it was easy for her to convince herself that it was a one-off.
Stress.
Right, yeah. So for the first year of their marriage, everything seemed to be relatively okay. It wasn't this like fairy tale romance, but the violence had subsided. Then towards the end of the first year, David started displaying more controlling behavior. He demanded that Teri quit her job. He insisted that she keep the door open when she was showering or using the bathroom. He would yell at her.
That's how I prefer, but if you told me to, I'm immediately shutting the fucking door.
Oh,
like, you prefer that?
And we know that I'm a closed door person.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do. Person is what I think that we all are.
Oh yeah. Literally never tell me what to do ever.
Literally never.
He would yell at her if the curtains were out of place or if towels weren't folded a certain way. So just very sleeping with the enemy levels of like,
yeah,
control. She became so afraid of his explosive reactions to accidents like breaking a glass that she would throw the broken pieces away in a neighbor's trash can. Like if anything, like if she dropped a glass and it broke, she would sweep it up and then go outside and throw them away in the neighbor's trash can so that he wouldn't freak out on her.
Oh, Jesus.
During the second year of their marriage, Teri gave birth to their first daughter, Amanda, and she recalled that becoming a mother emboldened her to begin to stand up to David. So he would constantly tell her that she couldn't leave, that she didn't have any money, and that the courts would take custody of her daughter if she were to leave, because it's like, oh, you can't support her, so you're not going to leave me, right? Once when
Aren't
Teri,
aren't I going to leave you? Mom and dad, this is what parents are for right here. Or like
friends.
sisters or friends or whatever. Yep.
Once, when Teri told David that there was something wrong with him and that she didn't want to put up with his abuse anymore, she recalled that he grabbed her by the hair and beat her in the head all while saying, "You better love me," over and over.
You know what'll get me to love you.
Yeah. And,
Wow.
And when she recalled it later, she was just like, it was just such a bizarre feeling because it was just like, you're saying you better love me while hitting me. Like, you know.
Wow. This does remind me of the movie we just watched last night.
Practical Magic?
Yeah,
Oh,
where he was like, I just want to marry you.
Yeah.
And he's like choking her to death. Like, yeah. Is that how that works?
Right.
So Teri had decided that she needed to leave, and she was working on getting her things in order to run when she became pregnant with their second child. So after their second, and by the way, I just want to say that this woman, she has a Wisconsin accent, and she's like just so adorable when talking about her kids. Like, so she's talking about this situation, and obviously becoming pregnant at that time was not ideal, but she's like, but I'm so grateful now that I have my daughter. She's such a blessing. You know, it's very sweet. So, after their second daughter was born, she recalled David picking a fight over spaghetti. So Teri was making dinner and had all the ingredients out on the counter when David demanded that she put the package of noodles away before they, quote, went bad. So Teri pushed back and said, "Do you want to eat dinner or not? They're dry noodles."
Oh, no.
Right? Like they're dry noodles. Like they're
But your noodles aren't going to go bad, sir. Maybe, hey, stick to the things you know.
So, but he responded by saying it didn't matter if it made sense or not. She was to do as he said.
Wow.
So the argument began to escalate, and Teri found herself running down into the basement because there was no other place to go. David had installed locks on the inside of the doors that only his keys would open. And so it was at this moment that she said she had a moment where she was thinking, like, I'm 30 years old, sitting in a box in my basement, hiding from my husband. Like, what is my life? Right. But still after this, it was really two pieces of advice from key women in Teri's life that gave her the courage to leave. So she had a close girlfriend who told her that if she wasn't happy, she needed to leave for the sake of her daughters. She didn't want her daughters to grow up thinking it was okay for a partner to treat them like that.
Right?
Yep.
And then her mother, who was a devout Catholic, took her aside and told her, God doesn't want you to live like this. And that was a huge relief for Teri as someone who grew up religious, you know, like
The idea of divorce is like
terrifying. It's not a thing that you,
Yeah.
and so to hear someone in your life say that to you, that's like, it's okay. Like if you need to leave, like it's okay. God doesn't want you to live like this.
Oh, that's,
you know,
that's very powerful.
So that was when she started making plans to leave, and she made the decision to go to a safe house because she didn't want to be near her family members because she knew that he would come looking for her there, and she didn't want to put any of them.
And my dad be like, I wish you fucking would.
I
wish you would come.
That's what she said. She said that her dad was really upset with her for not going home to them, but she was like, I don't want to put you in danger. Like, you know, he's
and
unhinged.
my dad's like, I wish you would put me in danger. Come on my property,
I'm ready.
sir.
Ready for it.
Yeah.
So she stayed in the safe house with her daughters for about a month before getting her own apartment and just starting over from scratch. So even though Teri was no longer living under the same roof as David, the abuse didn't stop. Every time Teri got a new job, David would show up. Every babysitter Teri got to watch the girls, David would go to the house and harass and scream at them until eventually they couldn't handle it and they quit.
Wow.
So Teri fought for sole custody, but even though David had an abusive past, he was still granted visitation rights. During their custody hearing, David's defense attorney told the judge, yeah, maybe he's abusive to her, but there's no proof he's abusive to the children.
Great.
Wow. Yeah, no, we got to nip that in the bud.
Okay.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
And also, too, just because you don't physically put hands on your children, there's all types of abuse. This is a type of abuse. Watching your mother get beaten by a man builds a fear inside of children that cannot be broken. Like, that is awful.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
I mean,
abuse.
and during this time, he was still verbally and physically assaulting Teri every time they would meet to drop off the kids. So it got so bad that she started insisting that they exchange the kids in public places like McDonald's or the hardware store.
Or the police station.
Yeah.
She called the police twice and eventually filed a restraining order against him. Even though the order barred him from possessing weapons, Teri knew that he still kept firearms in the house, but without a search warrant to prove that the guns were there, police had no way of enforcing the order stipulation that he not have firearms. So it did nothing, really. Like, it didn't do anything.
So it's useless. Once again.
He was so combative at every stage of their divorce that it took over a year and a half to complete the divorce. On January 31st, 2001, the divorce was finalized. And on the day they divorced, Teri sat in the courtroom and he was crying.
Ugh.
Right. And he told Teri, you're going to regret this. Whether it's months from now or years from now, you're going to regret it.
Ugh.
But she
got a tattoo on her neck that said no regrets.
No regrets. But, she, at this point, she'd heard so much stuff from him. It's just she's like, whatever. I'm just happy to be done with this. I'm overjoyed that this divorce is final. I'm ready to move on with my life.
Right.
So she joined a new church and joined the choir. And there she met a man named Nick who had taken an interest in her. He'd asked her out several times, but she was like, I'm just coming out of this really terrible relationship. I just want to be a mom to my kids. Like, I don't really want to get involved with this. And so she turned him down. But she just says that she turned him down because she also couldn't trust men at this point after what she had just gone through. And she didn't want to pull this guy into an already complicated situation. But months went by and she got to know him and she started to loosen up and he didn't seem anything like her ex-husband. So she decided to give it a shot. So they dated for a couple of years before getting married in 2003. And on January 30th, 2004, Teri took a pregnancy test and was thrilled to discover that she and Nick would be expecting their first child together. So they made a plan of how they were going to tell the girls, who were now 4 and 6, that they were going to be big sisters. They knew that they were going to be really excited. And it was David's weekend to have custody. So the next morning, on January 31st, Teri drove to David's to collect the girls. So by this point, she was like, I can't continue meeting him in McDonald's parking lots for the rest of my life. I can't have Nick coming with me every single time I collect the kids.
Can't I?
And she just believed.
Let your guard down, thinking
Just
he's
one
got to
time?
be over it by now.
Nope.
Yeah, she thought they were in an amicable place and that they had moved beyond the animosity of their divorce. She was like, things are okay. But when she got there, David came to the door and immediately told Teri that the kids weren't ready, and he shut the door in her face. And so she knocked again. And he came back and told her, the girls, they're hiding and they want you to find them.
No.
Oh.
And she says I didn't really want to go into the house, but I knew that my daughters liked to play these hiding games. And I'm a mom. I just I'll just go in there. I'll find them and then we'll leave.
Listen, I want to be like, no, don't do it. I would fucking 100% do this. I would definitely 100% be the one, because I told you how much I forgive people and how quickly. I'm like, oh, it's amicable. We're getting along.
If you hadn't had an issue in a long time.
I'm the one. This would have trapped me in an instant.
And this got me. So she walks in and she recalls saying in a loud voice, "Gee, I wonder where they are." Oh, which is such a mom thing, you know, like me. That like, where are you? Looking for you, you know.
It would be me.
And that's when she heard a loud clunk and everything went dark. So the truth was that the girls were locked in their room upstairs with the TV turned up so that they couldn't hear what was happening. So again, I'm going to give a trigger warning because this is when it gets worse.
Dark.
So when Teri came to, she was on the floor and David was on top of her with a baseball bat, screaming and hitting her in the head. She tried pleading with him. She was telling him, you don't have to pay child support. He could do whatever he wanted, but he just kept hitting her. And in the end, he hit her at least 20 times in the head with a baseball bat.
Oh my goodness.
So he began to strangle her. He took off her pants, her socks, and her shoes. He put her socks in her mouth. She describes the moments that he tried to suffocate her, and she recalled that she'd seen a movie that said to turn your head away when somebody's trying to strangle you. So that's what she did.
I got this in my brain notebook immediately.
Is it so they can't put pressure
they
here?
They can't get a good grip. I mean, if you keep just moving. Yeah.
It puts that muscle there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, a minute. I got it.
So, that's what she did. She kept moving her head to the side and he kept losing his grip. And so he was getting like frustrated that she wasn't going down like as easy as he wanted her to. So he took duct tape and he bound her wrists and covered her mouth. He then took a large garbage can and started to slide Teri into it. And she was still coherent enough after all of this. I don't know how. She knew that she was bleeding out of the top of her head. So she was like, I can't go into this can head first or I'm going to bleed out.
Right.
So she managed to like wriggle her way around before he got her into the garbage can. So she went in feet first, but she had bare feet, bare legs because he'd taken her pants and her socks and shoes off. So he picks up the barrel now. He takes it outside. Now this is winter in Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
So it's cold, it's snowing. He fills the barrel up with snow, packing Teri in with snow. Once the can was full of snow, he loads it into the back of the truck and he covers it with a tarp. She heard him go back into the house.
Does he think she's dead?
No.
Then why?
He knows she's not dead.
Then how? I mean, like, this is get outable so far, right?
Well, but she's packed in, like she's packed into the garbage, like the can with snow.
I'm just heavy hot breath right now.
And duct tape. Yeah. And she's been hit in the head 20 times.
Saliva. All the saliva coming out of my lips right now.
Well, so she hears him go back into the house. And it's at this point that she realizes, like, my kids are inside. Like, I need to stay as alert as possible, like, for my kids. So she realized that her phone was in her jacket pocket.
Yes, ma'am.
So she scratched off the duct tape on her wrist with her fingernail and she grabs hold of the phone and she felt, because this is 2004 or whatever, she felt the buttons for 911.
Yes, ma'am.
So they played the call, the 911 call.
Oh my goodness.
On the podcast. So she's struggling to breathe. And by the way, the 911 operator is being rude as fuck. Okay, I know they have a hard job, but like... so she's half frozen. She's bleeding from the head, and she's having a difficult time speaking, obviously. But she managed to get out the address, and the operator dispatched the police. Unfortunately, by this time, David has loaded the girls into the truck, and he began to drive away with her in the back of the truck. So the police drove right past David's truck to the address.
No.
As they drove, Teri lost consciousness. Luckily, when she came to, she called 911 again. And in this call, Teri says that her husband is trying to kill her. The 911 operator asks her where she is. She says she's under a tarp. He's like, can you move the tarp to see where you are? She says she can't. And again, this is a different 911 operator. And he's also rude. So he says, the fuck? He says, are you handcuffed or what?
Wow.
And she manages to get out masking tape. Like, she's like, I'm taped. So then he says, then how are you holding the phone? And at that moment, she loses consciousness again.
The fuck is wrong with people?
Right. And so because of this, because she didn't answer after he said that, he wrote the whole thing off as a prank. It was a prank call.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
So
I am furious.
I'd be sending those people a very poignant,
strongly
Hallmark
worded letter
card with my thoughts.
But it would say thank you on the front.
Thanks a lot.
For nothing. Right. Just that.
So when Teri came to again, she knew that she needed to try a different approach. So she tried sticking her hand out of the garbage can and waving it around outside the back of the truck, hoping that someone would see her. But not long after, the truck pulled over and David got out and he hit her again with the bat. And he told her that if she pulled another stunt like that, he'd take out his .38. Then her cell phone rang.
And
he took it.
Damn it.
Right. So they drove for an hour, and then David finally stopped the truck. He took the garbage can out of the back of the truck, and Teri recalls hearing her daughters running around laughing and playing. And she says that she didn't want to call out to them because she didn't want to traumatize them.
Well, also,
they can't do anything.
You don't know if you're putting them in danger or something.
Sure. Yeah. So she felt herself being rolled in the can, and then what sounded like boxes being moved around in a garage. David put the lid on the trash can before stacking boxes on top of it and walking away. Oh. So he had left Teri in a storage unit in Wheeling, Illinois. He then took the girls to a babysitter and went to work.
Oh my goodness.
So at this point, Teri is convinced she's going to die, right? Like she tries calling for help. No one hears her. And then the sun goes down and it's getting colder and colder. It's just above 0 degrees. And her body temperature falls to 84 degrees.
Oh my! Oh,
that ain't great. No,
I hate being cold.
Yes, me too. Despite the fact that she was exhausted and she had a concussion that actually caused her to throw up several times in the trash can.
Oh, fun!
She
Sounds
managed.
like my nightmare.
Yeah, she managed to stay clear-headed enough to know that she couldn't rest. She couldn't fall asleep because she'd probably not wake up.
Right.
So she forced herself to stay awake and she tried to move her limbs as much as she could. But she said like her knees were to her chest, like the way that the barrel was. Mm-hmm. So eventually she heard movement and she was terrified because she thought that David had come back, but a voice said, "We're the paramedics." And so she knew that she had been rescued.
How?
Oh.
How?
Mm-hmm. So Teri had been in the snow-filled trash can for 27 hours. About 3 hours after Teri failed to return home with the girls, Nick called the police.
Yes.
When he gave them David's address, they recognized it as the same address that Teri had given them on the 911 call. So when they went to the house and questioned the neighbors, they told them that they'd seen David towing Teri's car earlier that morning. And Nick had given the police a description of what Teri was wearing that day. And when they searched David's home, they found her sweatpants that matched the description, and a large bloodstain on the carpet and an empty handgun case. So they know that they needed to find Teri like super fast. Volunteers who had never even met Teri spent the afternoon driving around, looking in unfinished neighborhoods, searching in basements of incomplete houses, trying to find her. When the Amber Alert returned nothing, they waited for David at his house. They waited for David at his job before taking him down to the station. So police spent 6 hours questioning David, who insisted that he hadn't seen Teri. She hadn't shown up to pick up their daughter, so he dropped the kids off at the babysitters and then went to work. Authorities checked the location where the kids were supposed to be, and they were relieved to find the children and that they were unharmed. But both of the girls were like, "Yeah, no, we haven't seen our mother today," right? So David continued to insist that he had no idea where Teri was until detectives told him that they'd found Teri's pants and blood in his house. And then this is the detective. He started getting emotional as I was calling him on his lies. He claimed that Teri had attacked him and that he'd responded in self-defense. And the rest, he said, was a blur. But they finally had enough evidence to detain him. So when they did that, they confiscated all of his personal belongings, and they found in his wallet a card for a storage facility. So they called that and they confirmed that the storage unit had been visited that morning. So that's what led them to get there. So when the paramedics found Teri in the storage unit, she was about an hour away from death. One of the officers on the scene noticed as they wheeled Teri away on the stretcher that it appeared that she was wearing socks, and he knew that they had found her socks at David's house. So he took a closer look. Her feet were so badly frostbitten that they were completely black.
Oh, no.
Doctors initially thought that they would need to amputate.
I was going to say, is she going to lose her feet?
Yeah, they thought that they were going to need to amputate her arms below the elbows and her legs below the knees, but they were able to save them but they did lose her toes. So she had to have her toes on both of her feet.
Listen,
amputated.
bye-bye toes.
And that's what she said too. Like,
honestly.
Yeah, she was like, I don't care. I'm alive. I don't, take them.
I mean,
the toes.
flip-flops are going to suck from now on, but, you make it work.
Yeah.
But what was more devastating for Teri was that she lost the baby.
Oh.
So she was in the hospital for 2 months.
If that had happened in Texas, does that mean he gets tried for murder?
I mean... Okay.
Exactly.
Sorry. Not sorry.
She was in the hospital for 2 months and underwent 10 different operations. Even after returning home, she was wheelchair bound and had to learn to walk again. And she credited her kids with motivation to get out of the wheelchair.
I'm sure.
I kind of giggled at that because she tells this story about how like the girls quickly learned, as children do, that like, oh, we can do whatever we want upstairs because mom can't get upstairs. So
sneaky snakes.
She learned like, oh, I need to get out of this wheelchair. I need to learn how to like climb stairs so that I can be there for my kids, right? Mm-hmm. In state court, David pled no contest for attempted first-degree intentional homicide and was sentenced to 37 years in prison plus 23 years of extended supervision after his release in 2042, which she says, and I agree, doesn't feel like enough.
That's not enough.
Because
you tried to kill her.
Yeah, she said that the judge was basically like, well, he'll be like in his 70s when he gets out. What's he going to be able to do? She's like, I don't know, like get a gun and come find me? What are you talking about?
Oh my God, 70 is not as old as it used to be.
Right.
However, because he took Teri across state lines, he also faced federal kidnapping charges. And so there he was sentenced to life in prison.
There we go.
In case you were wondering, David remained a piece of shit. In 2010, correction officers found his, quote, complex escape plan, and he was moved to a higher security facility. So he is now in maximum security. A few years after the abduction, Nick and Teri welcomed a son together.
Yay, good.
And in the years since, Teri has been instrumental in helping to draft laws that protect domestic violence victims, like Wisconsin's SAFE Act, which takes guns out of the hands of abusers.
Yes.
Teri.
And today she works in Wisconsin State Capitol working on behalf of victims' rights.
Yes.
The end.
Yes.
Yeah, I survived as like... I can only watch like one episode, and I don't know why it's almost harder than like a typical true crime.
It does feel harder. I don't know why.
I don't know why
either.
because they lived,
right?
You know, but it's oh my gosh.
I think it's
so
because
hard. It's terrifying.
It gives perspective. All these people who didn't live, it gives perspective to what they went through prior. You know, like it's like that understanding of like. Because we can read about true crime and we can hear about what the victims went through and we can have this like abstract idea of like, oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Must have sucked.
But hearing someone tell you what it was like to be trapped in a snow-filled trash can for 27 hours after being hit in the head 20 times with a baseball bat.
They're two of my things, claustrophobia and not liking to be cold, like combined into the worst story of all time.
You know what? It's there's something about a double trigger. Balloons and not being believed. Mm-hmm. Claustrophobia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's like certain things that like will hit buttons in you that you're just like, holy shit. Like that would be my fucking
trapped feeling in that small. Oh my gosh.
I hate both of those things too. I literally like feeling like I can't move.
Yeah.
Like if I have a shirt on that's too tight, I'm like, oh,
I don't know if I would be strong enough to survive that. That's the
I don't
other
know
thing.
if that's the other thing. Yeah, because I don't think I would be in that situation. Like, man, I would be like, I'm just gonna go to sleep. Like, I'm just gonna call it. No one's coming for me.
Yeah.
And like, there's comfort in the idea of losing consciousness because at least you don't have to be here now. You know?
Yeah. And so maybe that's the other thing about the I survived, where I'd be like, no, I would not.
I don't have it in me. Yeah.
Right. But I wonder if like you don't know until you get into that situation. Because I've also heard episodes, because I feel the same way. I'm like, I have depression. There's no way I'm making it through this. But
it's surprising though, right?
I've listened to episodes where, you know, people did have depression and then they got into this situation, and not to say that it helped their depression, but their will to live did kick in. You know what I mean?
And then they're like, oh, I must want to live
because
I fought so
I wouldn't have done this otherwise.
It's that part of like superhuman strength, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, so I've always heard about like, oh, you know, like you could lift a car off somebody with enough adrenaline. And until it happens, I didn't believe that. I was like, you could not. I fucking swear to God. I was in high school. We were coming back from, this is like small town Ohio. I was living in Johnstown. We were driving to Croton. And my best friend and I pulled up onto an accident where this guy and his kid had flipped their car into a culvert. And it was at the egg farm, which probably nobody, unless you're from that area, would know. But if you eat eggs, you got them from there. But there's like a culvert, and the car was flipped upside down, and the guy had come out the window, and the car was kind of like leaning against like the top of his like neck, like not probably deadly, but like definitely couldn't have done that for long, right?
Right.
And so we, like, my friend like ran into the egg farm, and her and I and this dude, like, you know, held his head while we pushed this fucking car off of him. Like, we fucking pushed, we were like teenage kids. Yeah. And when I tell you I was like $110 at best at the time, I was not like a strong person, but I'm telling you, adrenaline is
necessity.
Real.
Yeah.
It was real. And I will tell you though, immediately as soon as I knew he was okay, and immediately as soon as we knew that things were going to be taken care of, my body was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like
I
went into that.
It deflates. Like there is that thing, you know, like when I got into my car accident, you're like, whoa, and you're like so full of just like, you're almost buzzing with that like adrenaline. And then it's like, as soon as you know you're safe and like you're in, I remember then getting home and getting into a bathtub, and it was just like, woof. It was like every like, your body just goes kind of like limp at that point, and you sleep better than you've ever fucking slept, you know,
because your body is tightly wound. So it's 9/11 today.
Yeah.
And it always reminds me of that when my mom and I were in Washington, D.C. during 9/11, and we were staying right by the Capitol building. And I remember we flew in on the 10th. We were there on the 11th. I remember the fear of like seeing the Capitol just being like, you know, like literally men and women in like suits and heels and dressed, you know, running past our window to get as far away from the Capitol building as possible, just being so tightly wound and knowing that at any moment DC is going to be the next target of possibly whatever. And then, you know, everything that happened, and like just being so tightly wound for that entire week that we were there because we couldn't fly home.
Right. They ground
literally in a no-fly zone. Every helicopter that flies by. And my first day back to work, I went in and I was doing a haircut, and my boss at the time came over and like was correcting me, and I literally broke down in tears, and he's like, what the fuck did I just say? And I was like, whoa, this has nothing to do with you. This is just like a reaction that came from something else.
This leads us right into what we're watching. So I because we just did an episode where we actually had to split into two. So if you listen to Your Angry Neighborhood Feminist, part 1 of our 9/11 War on Terror episode came out on Monday, and then next week we'll have our part 2. But I haven't finished it yet, but I watched a couple episodes of the Turning Point documentary series on Netflix. When I tell you, Anthony came in, I was like in the kitchen because I was watching it on my big TV monitor that I use for work in the kitchen, and Anthony came in and I was crying, and I was like, I didn't realize that I had all of this like unresolved trauma because I hadn't seen the plane hit the tower probably since 20 years, happened. Right. You know, and like, so it was very intense, but the documentary series, from what I've seen so far, very, very good. Really sets up kind of what our role was prior to 9/11 in everything that went on in Afghanistan, and like how instrumental the United States actually was in like arming the Taliban and like everything that happened prior to, but it balances it very well with the empathy of like what we were all feeling here and the trauma that we all experienced collectively when that situation happened. So I recommend it, but I wasn't prepared.
I do think that there are a lot of things that are occurring today have their seeds in 9/11 and our response to it.
Absolutely.
The distrust of the government after they lied to us about the weapons of mass destruction. I feel like there's a lot of things that we're seeing as problems today that take root or really start to sprout during 9/11.
I mean, it's very interesting to see because you can rewind the clock and see even prior to 9/11, like I was saying, like the first kind of like domino getting knocked over that led us to where we are, everything that we've gone through politically in the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
God, I just remember thinking that W was going to be the worst president of my lifetime. I can't.
You are so cute.
You are so cute.
You are so cute. Oh my God.
Remember that?
You remember?
I saw this meme though. They're doing a new Matrix movie.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, like you can't scare me the way I'm like, this shit was coming out in the 90s, like 99. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, take me back.
Take me back.
Like, I have always been the person who has argued. Every time we watch The Matrix, every time I watch the Matrix with Anthony, we have an argument because I'm like, dude, listen, not that I want to betray everybody, but I would Joe Pesci the shit out of that. He's just like, look, man, I know this steak isn't real, but it's a fucking steak. And like, I don't want to live in that world. That world looks fucking horrible.
Amen.
Leave me in the simulation. I'm fine.
Keep me in the steak world.
I want blankets and couches and comfy
TV.
things.
Yeah. And 1990s raves because there's a lot of that happening in The Matrix.
Many raves. So many Jinko jeans.
Yes.
It was my life.
Lots of white people with dreadlocks.
Listen, when I tell you that I had the lowest of low-rising Jenko jeans and the highest of crop tops that were just backless crop tops that tied.
You wanted your pelvic bones to be sticking out.
And they did.
Yes.
That's how skinny I was at the time, too. I was pelvic
the
bone.
Janko jeans, the bottom of them is
like
always like frayed and wet.
Because there was so much beer on that floor.
Oh, gross.
So much.
I can't think of anything I want to dance in less than Jinko jeans.
Listen.
Disgusting.
This is what we keep hearing. People from the millennials and Gen Z are like honeys. Gen X.
Yeah.
Gen Z, you don't know.
You don't know what it was like.
You don't know about the frayed ass bottom jeans.
You don't know You don't know how chaotic that Y2K fashion was. Okay, so many newsboy hats.
Those like scarfy things.
Scarves for no reason.
Scarves were not a top.
Scarves
for
no
top.
reason.
Scarf belts. That's not a thing.
What's
Why?
happening?
Can we talk about how flip-flops got a heel the size of like 8 inches just so that we wouldn't be stepping on our Jinko jeans?
Okay, but would still wear those. I'm not going to lie to you.
Those chunky
I would
Steve
wear those
Maddens.
chunky Steve Maddens today. I would wear them fucking now.
Every fucking one you knew, every single one you knew had the slide that had the like stretchy black slide with
with the band over the top. That's the one I want.
Yeah. I will get them today.
Yes, the elastic band over the top, and I'm sure that they're selling them now. I'm sure that they are because that's the kind of Y2K fashion people are ready for. They're not ready. They're not ready
for some of the wackier
skirts
aspects.
over bell bottoms. They're not fucking ready. They're not ready for pants that have no buttons and lace up with a single piece of leather.
Yes. We're not ready.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
do you remember the highlights that were just like broad like chunks?
That's happened.
The Kelly Clarkson
when
highlights?
I tell you the next tutorial that I'm going to do, it has a lot of that going on.
Oh no,
that's coming back.
Oh yeah.
It was always black, red, and blonde. Okay, it was like 3.
Had it.
Oh god, no.
Had it. I'm
having
and how excited was I when I washed it that first time and that red bled into that white and it got a little pink, got a little fuchsia.
Oh no!
Oh, it was a thing. I hate it. I hate it
with a zigzag part.
Okay. Oh, a zigzag part.
Listen.
I did do a tutorial recently for the company I work for with butterfly clips and
but cute though. That's cute.
So cute. People are like, no, I can't. It's too soon. I'm like, buckle up, bitches.
No, it's happening.
It's happening. Like it or not. Ready or not, here I come. Butterfly clips. We're going to find you.
And make you want them.
Exactly. On our bachelorette weekend, and I believe it was one of you bitches who recommended Afterlife of the Party.
It was not me.
That was not me. I've not seen it.
Don't pin that on me.
I don't know
what is it.
Bachelorette bitch did this, but
you're speaking directly to them right now.
I want you to feel the wrath and heat that's coming off of my voice.
I don't even know what this is. I don't know what you're referencing.
Netflix show called Afterlife of the Party. Well, it's awful.
Who's in it?
So nobody knows.
From the title, I'm getting, is it dead people?
Okay. So it's this girl. Her name is Cassie.
No.
Which I fucking hate watching shows with my name in it because I hate my name. And it also is really weird because it's one of those rare names that you don't hear. So when you do, it's just like, I don't know. Like I have just like that look on my face with side eye the whole time. Like, why are you saying my name? Anyway, Cassie dies. She is, has to come back to like right the wrongs between three people before she can move on to her afterlife. Oh, it's awful.
Absolutely fucking not. I won't do it. I'm protesting. I'll just sit in limbo for the rest of my life. It's not my job to fix your shit, okay?
It's a lifetime fuckster piece. Did I cry at the end? I don't want to talk about it. I'm done.
Wow. It's real aggressive.
Amazing. Well, if you have shows that you want to recommend, even if we end up hating them and possibly crying at the end, if you have stories to share, if you just want to reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.